Good morning, boys and girls. We are at the last chapter of BFG, which is actually a perfect timing because today is Friday and next week we have some fun holiday things for you to do. So this was a great chance for us to finish our BFG. It is a very short chapter, but it is titled Feeding Time. While the giants were being captured, a tremendous bustle and hustle was going on back at home in England. Every earth digger and mechanical contrivance in the country had been mobilized to dig the colossal hole in which the 9 giants were to be permanently imprisoned. 10,000 men and 10,000 machines worked ceaselessly through the night under powerful arc lights, and the massive task was completed only just in time. The hole itself was about twice the size of a football field and 500 feet deep. The walls were perpendicular, and engineers had calculated that there was no way a giant could escape once he was put in. Even if all 9 giants were to stand on each other's shoulders, the topmost giant would still be some 50 feet from the top of the hole. The 9 giant-carrying helicopters hovered over the massive pit. The giants, one by one, were lowered to the floor, but they were still trussed up, and now came the tricky business of releasing them from their bonds. Well, nobody wanted to go down and do this because the moment a giant was freed, he'd be sure to turn on the wretched person who had freed him and gobble him up. As usual, the BFG had the answer. I is told before, he said, that giants is never eating giants. So I is going down and I shall untie them myself before you can say Rock Jobinson. With thousands of fascinated specters, including the Queen, peering down into the pit, the BFG was lowered on a rope. One by one, he released the giants, and they stood up, stretched their stiffened limbs, and started to leap about in fury. Why is they putting us down there in this gross-bludgeoned hole? They shouted at the BFG. Because you is guzzling human beings, the BFG answered, and I is always warning you not to do it, and you is never taking the titchest bit of notice. In that case, the flesh lump eater bellowed, I think we is guzzling you instead. The BFG grabbed the dangling rope and was hoisted out of the pit just in time. The great bulging sack he had brought back with him from Giant Country lay at the top of the pit. What's in there? The Queen asked him. The BFG put an arm into the sack and pulled out a gigantic black and white striped object the size of a man. Snozcumbers, he cried. This is the repulsant Snozcumber, Magister, and this is all he is going to give these disgusting giants from now on. May I taste it? The Queen asked. Don't, Magister, don't. It is tasting of chalk filth and pig squibble. With that, he tossed the Snozcumber down to the giants below. There's your supper. He fished out more Snozcumbers from the sack and threw them down. The giants below howled and cursed, and the BFG laughed. Serves them right, left, and center, he said. What will you feed them when the Snozcumbers are all used up? The Queen asked him. They is never being used up, Magister. I is also bringing in this sack a whole bundle of Snozcumber plants, which I is giving, with your permission, to the royal gardener to put it in the soil. Then we is having an everlasting supply of this repulsant food to feed these thirsty, bloody giants on. What a clever fellow you are, said the Queen. You are not very well educated, but you are really nobody's fool, and I can see that. And that is how the story ends, boys and girls, with those giants staying in the hole. I'm going to go ahead and flip that picture of the BFG, all those people in the background watching, and him holding that huge Snozcumber. All right, I hope you enjoyed this just as much as I do. Since we are not in school to do a vote, I will pick on a new story, and we will start it after the holidays. I hope you all have a good day and a great weekend.